As we start into section 4.2, we're talking about the graphs of exponential functions. So if you look at these equations here that are drawn, you will notice very quickly that D has an A value that is at 4. So that's going to be up here. So B would have to be that answer. Now, with the remainder, all right, with the rest of them, they all go through the same place. They all go through the 3. And we need to indicate which of these is going to be which. So as I'm looking at these, I can see that this one and this one both have B values that are between 0 and 1. And that indicates that these are going to go down this way. All right, and then this one and this one, of course, have B values that are greater than 1. And these, of course, are going to go in the parent graph location. So the way to go about this is to figure out which one grows more quickly. So if we put a 1 in for each one of the x's, then we know that for the A part of a base of 0.83 and the C one with 0.74, if I put a 1 in there, then this one would be the one that has the smaller base, 0.74 to the x, okay? So G is going to be that one. G will be this one. And then, of course, that only leaves O to be this one. And similarly with the others, if I'm putting if I put a 1 in, then 1.1 is going to grow more slowly than the 1.46. So 1.1 base would be here, and of course this one would be your 1.46 because it grows more quickly as you put different x values in. And again, all of them go through 3. So this one, this one, this one, and this one all go through 3 because that is your initial value. So we've got 1.1 would be the lower one, so that would be the R. And then that leaves K to be the one that grows most quickly. In this next question, it is giving you a similar set of graphs and it's asking you different questions. So one question it's going to ask is what is the largest value for A? So the largest value for A is going to be 4, okay, because this is where the y-intercept is, 0, 4. So the orange one, I'm assuming O is for orange when it's graphed, so that one is going to be the one that gives you the biggest A value. Now the other two questions are asking about the biggest and smallest values of B. So without regard to your A value, we are looking at the others. So when we are looking at this, R and B have values that are between 0 and 1. And then we know that those would be smaller, of course, than K, which is going to have a B greater than 1, and G, which is going to have a B greater than 1, and O, which is going to have a B greater than 1. So for all of those, we know then that R and B are out of the question. Those are the smaller B values. So for the largest B value, I am looking at the fact that we are going to have to see which one gets largest quickest. So for O and G, those are going pretty much at the same rate. It's just that they've moved up a level, so they're not at 0.3, they're at 0.4. So in this case, K is going to have the largest B value. And then when I'm looking back here at the smallest B value, of course, the other two that have B greater than 1 won't work. So I'm looking then at R and B. So if I'm looking at the smallest, all right, these two, again, are between 0 and 1. And when I'm looking at this, what I'm asking is which one grows more slowly. So that's going to be the very smallest one. So the one that is almost leveled out is going to be R. That's going to be the smallest B value. So with exponential functions, we talked very, very briefly about the transformations that go along with those as we were talking about transformations back in chapter 2. chapter 1. These, however, are going to be very specific to exponential functions, so you can have negative values. So if your parent graph is y equals 2 to the x, they're going to have to tell you what your parent base is before you can talk about transformations. So then, depending on where you put your negative sign, you will have reflections. So for this second one, I have the negative is on the outside of the function, so that reflects over the x-axis. For the second one, we have our negative inside with the x, which is in the exponent location. So that's going to reflect it over the y-axis. And then if you have both reflections, both negative signs in there, then you're going to have both kinds of reflections. So in this next one, you are given that you are starting with f of x is equal to 5 to the x, and it wants you to shift it down 7 units. So if I want to shift that down 7 units, then 5 to the x stays, and then I subtract 7 from it on the outside, not in the location of the exponent where the x is. So if I want to shift to the left, then that one will be up here in my exponent location, and if I'm going left, that means I'm adding 4 in the exponent location. And if I am reflecting it about the x and the y-axis, I will have a negative 5, and then you'd also have a negative x. When asked to do a long-run behavior graph, what they ask you to do is figure out what the transformations do. So in its parent form, we would have a parent graph of 4 to the x power. So these will be my 2 original ordered pair points in its parent location. So if that is the only thing I've got, then I have a horizontal asymptote on the x-axis, which is at y equals 0. All right, so what happens is we reflect this over the x-axis because I have a negative on the outside. So to do that, we just take all of our y values and we flip them over the x-axis. So I'm here at 0, -1, and I'm here at 1, -4. All right, so these points are not here anymore. Going to erase those so we don't get confused. So those are now gone. All right. Now, I still have this horizontal asymptote at y equals 0 at this point, because if this was all there was to it, I would have that graph right there. But that's not all I've got going on. I also have this 3, okay, this 3 that's in front. Now, all this does for me is stretch it vertically, which does not move my horizontal asymptote. So that part's taken care of. Now, the other 3, however, this one is going to change things. My horizontal asymptote is no longer at y equals 0. Because I'm moving every single ordered pair point down 3 units, then my ordered pair points are not at these locations anymore. I'm moving it down 3 units. So I go down 1, 2, 3. So this one is now going to be here at 0, -4. And then the other one, instead of being at 1, -4, I'm going to be at 1, -7. So this graph is going to do something very similar to this. And even though my graph is off by a little bit, let me make that a little neater. All right, you have the opportunity to notice that if I look at the horizontal asymptote, it is now very crookedly, let me try that again, very crookedly, we are going to be at y is equal to -3. So that would be your horizontal asymptote. So as I go through and I look at as I look at the long run behavior, as x's are going toward -infinity, then this function is going to level off and approach the y horizontal asymptote at y equals -3. It never touches it, it never crosses it, but it does approach it as it continues to graph out through there. And on this other side, as x approaches positive infinity, then the graph keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, so it's going to go off to -infinity. You have to practice with these transformations a little bit to figure out which way these go. You're given a parent graph of y equals 2 to the x. So if we put a couple of ordered pair points on the original, they would be at 0, 1, and they would be at 1, 2. If I make note of the fact that this is the form that it has to be in, I can move up or down based on k, and a can be positive or negative, which can give me a reflection, and it can also be a vertical stretch or shrink, and we will be using an ordered pair point in order to determine the value of A. So at this point, I'm going to understand that I have reflected across the x-axis. So this ordered pair point, these would change and be here and here. I'm going to erase these other two because they're not there still. So we have reflected across the x-axis. So at that point, I have y is equal to negative a 2 to the x plus k. Now, if that was the only transformation that happened, then this graph would have done something very similar to this, but that's not where I am. So at this point, the red graph that I have has a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. But that's not the case in the black graph that I have. So I'm looking more specifically at the black graph. So the black graph is going to have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 3. So if I have a horizontal asymptote at y equals 3, then that means that this is a 3 on the outside back here. Now, once I have those two things determined, and you may or may not have the negative in your problem, but if you do, you have to make sure to keep it there. So at this point, I am no longer looking at the red. I am looking now at the black graph that they gave me. So I need an ordered pair point that's on this black graph. So I'm looking at this, and I know that the y-intercept is a point that we like to use. So I'm going to use 0, 1 and see what happens. All right, so I put a 1 in here, I put a negative a here, I have 2 to the 0 power, and then I have plus 3. So order of operations says that 2 to the 0 is just 1, so this is negative a plus 3. So if I subtract 3, I end up with negative 2, and if negative 2 is equal to negative a, then a is the number 2. Now, we think that our equation is negative 2 times the base of 2 to the x power plus 3. These questions are not the easiest questions to do, and what I always encourage students to do is to pick another ordered pair point. So I'm going to pick the ordered pair point negative 1, 2. I'm also going to do 1, negative 1 because both of those ordered pair points are on my graph. I have to make sure that these are satisfied by the equation that we found. So I'm first going to check negative 1, 2. And if it works, then I'll check the other one. So I have y is equal to negative 2 times the base of 2 raised to the x power plus 3. So I plug my 2 in. This 2 goes in for y. And then I have a negative 1 in for my x. And then I'm going to add 3 to it. So I have 2 is equal to negative 2. Of course, 2 to the first power is 1/2 plus 3. And I know that negative 2 times 1/2 is negative 1. And negative 1 plus 3 does in fact give me 2. So that ordered pair point worked. That is enough to say that this is indeed our answer for this question. I'm just going to show you that maybe you don't like dealing with negatives, and you choose the ordered pair point 1, negative 1. All right, I'm going to check that one as well. You only have to check 1 to see if it's going to work. So you have y is equal to negative 2, a base of 2 raised to the x power plus 3. So I have negative 1 here. I have a 2 to the first power here, and then I'm adding 3 to it. So this is negative 1, 2 times 2, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, and if I add 3 to that, I do in fact get negative 1. So this is our final answer for this question. Your questions are they can look very different. So this is just one example that you could see. The next thing they ask you to do is to graph. So you have a grapher tool, so you want to be sure that you're really careful with this. You're always going to want to put in and get an exponent of 0. So for this one, I would need to plug an x in that has a value of 2. So this would be 6 to the x minus 2. So this would be 6 to the 0, which would give me a y value of 1. So 2, 1 has to be on this ordered pair point of this graph. And then I'm going to use a 3. I'm going to go bigger so I don't have to deal with fractions. It won't really let you graph those anyway. So this will give me 6 to the first power, which is 6. So 3, 6 is another point that I would need, and the grapher tool will do that for you. So test time, you might have to come up with this graph. Quiz time, you might actually have to come up with the ordered pair points. So be very mindful of that. And this will, of course, still have the horizontal asymptote at y equals 0. It did not shift up or down, so it will approach but never cross the x-axis. We have another of these. We have 1/3 to the x plus 4. So I'm going to encourage you that you change this into 3 to the negative first, and then you have x plus 4. So this equation turns into 3 to the negative, and then x plus 4. So this transformation is a reflection across the y-axis. And then, of course, adding 4 inside makes us go left 4 units. And you can use those transformations if you prefer to use ordered pair points instead of trying to figure out where the transformations go. Be very careful that you have those parentheses included. So again, I want to always come up with a 0 exponent, so that would be at negative 4. That's going to give me 3 to the negative 0, which is just 3 to the 0, which is just 1. So negative 4, 1 would be one of our equation ordered pair points. And then, of course, again, we don't want to deal with negative exponents, so I'm going to go to negative 5. So that's going to give me 3 to the negative, and then negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1, and that reduces to 3 to the first power, which is 3. So negative 5, 3 would be your second ordered pair point. And again, you haven't had an up or down movement, so your horizontal asymptote would still be at y equals 0 for long run behavior. I have 2 more equations to do with you. These are asking for the transformations. So just because my base has turned into an e, I still have an exponential function that I'm working with. And in this exponential function, my base is roughly 2.7, okay? So talking about transformations, we have a negative on the inside, so you reflect across the y-axis. And then this subtraction of 3 means that we're going to go down 3 units. So then it's asking for domain and range. Now, as far as the domain is concerned, these are everything. The range, however, is not. So if I had a parent graph e to the x, all right, parent graph e to the x is going to go up this way. So if I reflect that across the y-axis, then I would be doing something very similar to this. And then if I move that down 3 units, then I would not have a horizontal asymptote at the y-axis, but it would be instead at y equals negative 3. So this graph, in its rough estimation, would do something very similar to this. So then your range is going to start but not include negative 3, and it will go on forever. So be very careful with your transformations. And in this last example that I have, you have something very similar to what we just did. We are starting with 3 to the x, and there's only one transformation on this one. You reflect across the x-axis. And that no other change has happened. So if you had 3 to the x in its parent form, it would be going like this. So if we reflect over the x-axis, I'll do it in red, you're going to have a graph that does this. So again, the domain, I can put any x value I want in for an exponent, so all of those work. However, the range does not, because you have a horizontal asymptote that it does not cross at y equals 0. So it starts at the bottom of negative infinity and goes up, but does not include 0.